Hey guys, Matt from Just Wrench It here, and today we're going to get into whether or not you should buy a salvage title vehicle. Let's get into the video right now, guys. So, you want to buy a salvage car. Now, there's a lot of reasons why someone might want to buy a salvage car. They want to save some money, get a nicer car that they may be otherwise able to afford. A lot of people want to buy it, fix it, resell it. But these guys that think they're going to buy these cars and resell them at full price, you're sadly mistaken. And unless you find a buyer that doesn't know what they're buying, that doesn't know it's a rebuilt vehicle, then you might be able to swindle somebody into paying full price. And in that case, nobody likes you because you're a jerk and you're trying to get one over on somebody and just make a financial profit, and nobody likes you. So, yeah, you can exit that way. But okay, well, the first thing that you need to look at when you're considering buying a salvage car is, number one, the damage. You need to look at the damage, inspect the car if possible, and then kind of see what you're looking at in terms of parts and repairability. Some salvage cars are salvaged for a reason and they're extensively damaged, and those are going to be a nightmare for the normal person to repair. So you want to take that with a grain of salt. A lot of things, though, are actually salvaged by insurance companies because the cost of repair at a body shop, or we'll call it official repair location, whatever, would exceed, what is it? It's usually somewhere around 60-70% of the value of the car. Now that's very arbitrary because different cars have different values, but one thing that stays about the same is body shop repair costs. Now you got to think of all the manual labor, you got to think about the parts replacement. Most of the time they don't buy cheap parts, they buy official OEM parts, so the prices are higher for those, and also all the paint and body work that usually goes into these types of repairs can be extensive in some cases. And I mean, paint alone can cost thousands of dollars depending on how much the vehicle is damaged. Remember that insurance companies, when they look at these appraisals to determine whether or not a car is salvaged, they're taking into account the value of the car when it was wrecked and the cost of official repairs to that vehicle to see how the cost benefit analysis weighs. If the repairs aren't that much and the value of the car is high, then yeah, they'll repair it and it'll be fine. It'll never be salvaged out. But if the car has questionable value, or the repairs are extensive and it's going to take a lot to repair, then yeah, a body shop is going to have a very high cost to repair that vehicle. But the question that you need to ask yourself is, should you buy a salvage title vehicle? Okay, so if you want to know what a salvage title vehicle is, then check out my other video on what you need to know about salvage inspection. It's very informative, a little long-winded, but there's a lot of good information in there. It's kind of unavoidable, so check that out. I'll put a link up here to the video so you can check that out. But the real key here is that you don't want to get in over your head. You have to have a realistic expectation of what your capabilities are in repairing a vehicle. I know I've gotten, well, my most recent one, the Copart GMC Acadia, you can check out those videos here in this playlist. It was a little more damaged than I really thought, and I just looked at it on the pictures, you know. It's kind of like a fiance kind of thing. She wanted the pretty car, not so pretty car. And so she got the not so pretty car, and I got a job to fix it. So far that's going really well. And the inspection is next week now. I got pushed back a little bit because I actually had to cut out a panel and replace it. So that took a little longer than I thought. But I'm on track with that. But again, like, you really got to know what you're capable of. Can you cut metal off of a car, we re-weld in new panels, Is that the type of repair that you can do? Or are you just looking for something that you want to replace some fenders, some headlights, and some things, and hope that nothing's really bent and twisted under there? So you really got to consider what you're capable of doing. Now, I can already hear some of you. You look at a car, you see it wrecked. Oh, well, that just needs this. I can do that. I could paint it myself, or I don't care about the paint, which is an even more important aspect of it. I see a lot of people driving around anymore with the black primered replacement parts and the black plastic bumpers and things on their vehicles. So it seems to be kind of a popular thing, which is why I'm making this video. And another thing that you want to consider is I've known a couple of guys that are like, oh, I'm going to buy one and I'll just take it to a body shop. Right there, you're cutting yourself off at the knees. I mean, it depends on what you want the vehicle for, but that's a horrible idea in terms of cost. I mean, if it's something that you literally can't fix, then I guess that may be your only option. But you don't want to take it to a body shop if you can avoid it, because as we talked about earlier, the price is just going to be outrageous versus the cost of the car. You might be able to get them to skimp on a couple of things, but chances are you're probably going to pay a premium for that kind of service. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't think that you're just going to run it to a body shop and have them fix it, kind of hack job it up. And if it's the right type of damage, you really don't want them to hack job it up. So, keep that in mind when you're looking at these vehicles. Okay. So the bottom line here is that if you're mildly mechanically inclined and the damage isn't completely horrible, then yes, you can do some things. You can replace some fenders, some headlights, some bumpers. You can paint it, you can not paint it. I myself haven't got into paint too much yet, but I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of videos on YouTube of people painting vehicles. You can always run it down to Mako and get their spray service, which is relatively cheap. Maybe not the greatest quality, but if you're just looking to get paint on something, that's an option as well. That's relatively cost effective. So keep those things in mind. But if you can do a little bit of work on it, and you can turn a wrench and you can line some things up when you're putting panels on, then yeah, you should be pretty good, and you could go ahead and buy that car. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you would, please click subscribe down there. It helps the channel out. I think I'm at about 220 subs now, so I'm doing pretty good. Check out my latest video on Cobalt Tools. I mentioned in there about a giveaway that I'm doing, so check that out if you're so inclined. I thank you guys very much, and have a good day. I'll see you next time. Bye.